Chinese Minister of Defense General Wei Fenghe is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka for an official visit tonight.
General Wei Fenghe was appointed as the Chinese Minister of Defense on the 19th of March 2018. He obtained membership of the Chinese Communist Party in January 1972. He is also a member of the Central Military Commission in China. According to the Department of Government Information, Chinese Minister of Defense General Wei Fenghe is scheduled to remain in the island until the 29th of this month.
A number of foreign diplomats and US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Lena B. Teplitz, met with opposition leader Sajith Premadasa today.
Ambassadors from the US, Switzerland and Norway, the Canadian High Commissioner and Deputy High Commissioner to Australia called on the opposition leader at the opposition leader's office this evening.
We engaged in a broad discussion on many topics, including the topic you mentioned. The main thing that was discussed within those topics was safeguarding the unity, the sovereignty, territorial integrity, political freedom and the rights of the people of our country.
Meanwhile, 5 representatives of the European Union met with the opposition leader Sajith Premadasa this morning. The group of representatives were led by Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the delegation of the European Union to Sri Lanka and Ambassador to the Maldives, Denis Chaibi. French Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Eric Lavertu, German Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Holger Seubert, and Romanian Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Dr. Victor Chuija, also took part in this discussion with the opposition leader.
This meeting is one that will add value to our economy and politics and not one that will harm our country. As a party, the Samagi Jana Balawega will always stand to protect the rights of the people. Our country is not ruled in a dictatorial manner. This is a democratic country. Our country is not ruled by one political party. This is not a one-party state. Our country and our government has to follow a positive foreign policy with these countries. We cannot go forward as a country by not connecting with other countries over trivial matters and discarding the sovereignty of our country. We can seek a lot of help from these countries. This government lacks proper management and understanding. There is a power struggle taking place within the government at the moment. It is the people of this country who are impacted by that political power struggle. We engaged in a broad discussion on social, cultural and religious rights today.
The government announced today that all the schools across the country will be closed till this Friday. Minister of Education, Professor J.L. Pires, explained about the decision further.
The government has decided to suspend all operations at schools, preschools and pirivens located across the country. We will hold discussions with health officials, provincial education directors and principals of schools as to what action will be taken in the first week of May. We would like to tell the parents that all our decisions will give priority to the health of the students.
According to the commander of Sri Lanka Army, General Shavindra Silva, Siriketa Grama Division in the Hinguraggoda Police Division in the Polonnarava district and the Palle Kumru Grama Division in the Ukwela Police Division in the Matale district have been isolated from 6 a.m. this morning. 10 Grama divisions were isolated yesterday and the Dambula Dedicated Economic Centre, which was closed down for 3 days, were declared isolated yesterday as well. The Kuliapitiya Police Division remains isolated as well.
COVID-19 patients discovered from Sri Lanka.
The highest number of COVID-19 patients during the 24-hour window, which ended at 6 a.m. this morning, were reported from the Colombo district. The number stands at 173, with the total of 997 COVID-19 patients identified from across the island over the past 24 hours, ending at 6 a.m. this morning. The total COVID-19 caseload in Sri Lanka rose to 102,376. 647 COVID-19 deaths have been reported thus far. According to the Ministry of Health, the average death toll to every 1 million citizens in Sri Lanka is 29, whereas in India, the average is 128.
Over the past 10 days, we observed a sharp rise in the number of COVID-19 cases. Clusters have formed from a number of districts. Doctors have also noticed a trend of younger people contracting the virus. Most patients need external oxygen owing to certain complications.
Situation at the intensive care units.
More than 20% of the patients are symptomatic. Out of those, nearly 17% of them require external oxygen supplies. 3% of those patients have been admitted to ICUs. Today, around 42 patients were transferred to the ICU. Another batch of patients require oxygen therapy. We have allocated nearly 130 ICU beds for COVID-19 patients.
COVID රෝගීන් සඳහාම පමණක් අපි 130ක විතර එඳන් සංඛ්‍යාවක් හදිසි ප්‍රතිකාර සේවක එඳන් සංඛ්‍යාවක් අපේ සතුව තියෙනවා.
දැනිසත්කාරයකවල ඇඳන්
Last year they said that they would make ICU beds and also bring them down. But only 18 beds have been increased. There are only 8 beds in the IDH ICU. The Theldeni hospital, which was allocated for COVID-19 patients, has only 6 beds. There are only 24 ICU beds in the Karapiti hospital, 6 beds in Nuwara. National Hospital has only 96. Mullaria has 8, 2 in Maravilla, 3 in Dambulla, 15 in Peradeniya, 15 in Batiklo, 20 in Badulla, 6 in Kegol, 5 in Vatupitivala, and 15 beds in Matara. In the Western Province, there are only 193. More than 900 COVID-19 cases were reported yesterday. If this situation gets worse, where are they going to admit these patients is a serious question that might arise in the future.
අසාධ්‍ය තත්ත්වයටපත් වුණොත් මේගොල්ලෝ ඇතුළු කරන්නේ කොහෙටද කියන කාරණය පිළිබඳ බරපතල ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඊටම ඉක්මන් අනාගතයේදී ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Does a shortage of oxygen exist?
Oxygen කිසිම හිඟයක් නැහැ. දැනට oxygen තියෙනවා.
There is no shortage of oxygen. We have also taken precautionary measures to provide jumbo cylinders of oxygen to treatment centers and teaching hospitals by next week.
රෝහල් වලට සහ ශික්ෂණ රෝහල් වලට ලබා දීම ඉදිරි සතියේදී සිදු කරනවා.
Will a lockdown be imposed?
Our humble request is for the public to practice self-imposed travel restrictions. When a lockdown is imposed, a severe economic and mental impact comes with it. It is important to prioritize the economic affairs of the country. Is there a risk of COVID-19 spreading through the air? The WHO has revealed that the virus spreads through the air. Let me explain how it occurs. For instance, if I am infected with COVID-19 and I remove my mask to speak, the virus will remain airborne for nearly 1.5 hours. If I leave this place and another person comes here and removes his or her mask, he or she would inhale the virus. Even though I do not make contact with that person, he or she will be infected through inhaling the virus. It was revealed from the outset that COVID-19 spreads through droplets. It has now been scientifically proven that the virus can remain airborne, especially in places with less ventilation. It is the same virus which spreads as different strains after mutating.
ඕනිම වෛරස් එකකට වාතයෙන් බෝවීමේ හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා.
Any virus is prone to disseminate through the air. Earlier, we thought it spreads through droplets. However, Professor Neelika Malavige has confirmed the strain spreading at present can spread through the air. I feel it is difficult for us to prove whether it does or does not. But what we do know is that the spread is rapid. Following an inquiry made from the Sri Lankan branch of the WHO, it said, although several researchers have revealed the virus spreads through the air, it is not the primary mode of transmission. It added, the primary mode of transmission is direct and close contact between humans.
Meanwhile, wholesale vegetable farmers were severely inconvenienced earlier today owing to the decision made by the authorities to isolate the dedicated economic centre in Dambulla from 7 p.m. last night. Following the isolation of the economic centre, wholesale farmers decided to hawk their produce on either side of the entrance road to the Dambulla city. Later, the police took steps to remove the farmers.
ඉතින් අපි සෑම දෙයක්ම මැල යන්නේ දඹුල්ල ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානට. ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානයේ දින නොමැතිව වහලා තියෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා මේ බණ්ඩක්කකින්දේ තක්කාලිකින්දේ දවසක් දවසක් කපන්න මේ බලන මේ බණ්ඩක්කාරල් හෙට තිබ්බනම් මේක පැහැෙනවා. තැන් වල එළවලු ගෙනල්ලා එන වෙලෙන්දට අපි දෙනවා. දැන් ඒකත් එපා කියලා අපිට යම් තැන් වලින් කියනවා. මොකද අපි
දැන් දින දෙකක් තිස්සේ ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානේ වහලා තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම දැන් අපි බඩු ටික ගෙනල්ලා විකුණ ගන්න තැනක් නැහැ. අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාගෙන් කියන්නේ අපි ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානේ වසා තිබුණාට කමන්නේ. අපි ඒ ආසන්න කොහේ හරි අපිට මේක ස්ථිරව තැනක් ලබා දෙන්න කියලා මේ අපි මිලදී ගන්න බඩු ටික විකුණ ගන්න.
Large crowds gathered at the Tambutegama dedicated economic centre today following the Dambulla economic zone being placed in isolation. Public health officers strictly advise those who fail to adhere to health guidelines. The police took steps to advise locals in Gaul who fail to adhere to health guidelines. Passenger buses and three-wheelers in Haliala were also inspected in this manner.
We are trying to clarify the facts to intelligent people, with the impression that they will act accordingly. However, by any chance, if it does not happen, we will have to make sure it happens via legal means within the next 24 to 48 hours.
දැනට රජයට පැමිණෙන චෝදනාවක් තමයි මේ ඊයේ පෙරේදා ගත්ත ක්‍රියාමාර්ග අවුරුද්දට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ගත්තනම් මේ දැන් පවතින ව්‍යසනය වෙන්නේ නැහැයි කියන එක.
නමුත් සාමාන්‍ය සම්ප්‍රදායක් හැටියට අපේ සිංහල අවුරුදු ගිය සැරෙත් නැති නිසා අපි යම් විදිහේ සීමා මන් වලින් එළියට යන්නේ ඉඩ හැරියා. මම හිතන්නේ ඒක අපි පිළිගන්න වෙනවා. එය නොකර හිටියනම් වඩා හොඳ දෙයක් කියලා.
පසුගිය දිනක ඊයේ අපිට අහන්න ලැබුණා ඉන්දියානු ජාතිකයන්ට අප රට තුල නිරෝධායන ක්‍රියාවලියකට භාජන වීමට අවස්ථාව ලබා දෙනවා කියලා.
ඒක නම් කියන පට්ටපල් බොරුවක්.
දැන් මේ ජනතාවට බයිනවා මිනිස්සු රෙදි ගන්න ගියකට බයිනවා මිනිස්සු.
People are accused of going out to buy clothes, for going out to shop and for travelling across cities. Those who brought Ukrainians are nowhere to be seen. It happened the same way those days. It was a huge travesty to leave the country open for Ukrainians. They were not given a time period of 14 to 21 days. They were escorted to a tourist bungalow and hotels right after they arrived. They were taken across the island. We don't know whether this variant came from Ukraine. We are suspicious of that. There is a debate on whether this new variant spreading across the country is from Ukraine rather than from India.
යුක්‍රේන් ජාතික රට ඇතුළට ඇවිල්ලා ගෙනාපු ප්‍රභේදයක්ද මේ ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා.
Yesterday, for the fifth straight day, India set a global daily record of new coronavirus infections as new variants of the virus continue to spread. Meanwhile, the first oxygen express train for Delhi carrying around 70 tons of the life-saving gas reached the national capital early this morning.
Makeshift pyres are being built in crematoriums in India's capital, Delhi, as the city runs out of space to cremate its dead. Deaths have been steadily rising in India as a deadly second wave of COVID infections devastates the country, with 380 recorded in Delhi alone yesterday. Hospitals are overwhelmed with people waiting in the streets outside. India has recorded more than 1 million COVID-19 cases in just a few days. India, with a population of 1.3 billion, has an official tally of 17.31 million infections and 195,123 deaths, although health experts say the figures probably run higher. The World Health Organization chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said it was doing everything it can, providing critical equipment and supplies. Medical supplies from the UK arrived in India today, the first international shipment aimed at stemming a devastating COVID-19 surge. The assistance package includes 495 oxygen concentrators, 120 non-invasive ventilators and 20 manual ventilators from surplus UK stocks. The US, France and Germany are among nations sending desperately needed aid. The UK shipment, including ventilators and oxygen concentrators, which will help hospitals manage oxygen supplies, was unloaded at the Delhi airport. US President Joe Biden spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and pledged America's full support. The US is lifting a ban on sending raw materials abroad, enabling India to make more of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It will also provide medical equipment and protective gear. Bhutan, a small landlocked nation sitting in the Himalayas between China and India, has said that it will supply liquid oxygen to the northeastern Indian state of Assam. India's neighbour Pakistan, which has had tense relations with Delhi, has offered medical equipment and supplies. They have also offered to send 50 ambulances to India.
This has sparked public anger and allegations of censorship in the world's most populous democracy. Officials said the legally binding order was designed to tackle what it called attempts in recent days to spread coronavirus-related misinformation and create panic by posting images of dead bodies taken out of context. Twitter, which received many of the takedown requests, blocked the posts in India, though they remained visible outside the country. Twitter disclosed the government order on Lumen database, a Harvard University project. The microblogging network and Facebook compiled with the request and withheld those posts from users in India.
Curtailing the freedom of expression only highlights weakness on the part of the government. This is further exemplified through what is happening in India at present. Narendra Modi was appointed the Prime Minister of India following a wave of social media propaganda similar to Sri Lanka. By today, India is attempting to curtail the freedom of the people while covering up the government's shortcomings through their efforts to prevent a discourse being formed in society regarding their rule. The situation in Sri Lanka is now similar to that of India. This only goes to show the failure of the government.
Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena engaged in an inspection tour alongside several other ministers today at the land which has been allocated for the construction of an industrial park at the Chalimard estate in Waligama, Matara. A group of women employed at the estate opposed the move, claiming their livelihoods will be lost if the estate is taken over for the construction of the proposed industrial park.
අපි ඡන්ද දුන්නේ ඔකට නෙමෙයි අපේ පැත්තෙන් අපේ බඩටම කෙලිනෝ ඒකයි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ එහෙම නැනදී රැසීම වලට ගියා ගෙවල් ගාන ගියා මිනිස්සු දැනුවත් කරා කල්ලි වල ඡන්ද අරන් දුන්නා ඡන්ද අරන් දීලා හම්බ කරන් වත්තක් දෙන්න වෙලා දැන් අපිට මෙච්චර කාලයක් වුණා මේවත් මීඩි ඉස්සලා ගන්න තිබුණනේ ඇයි දැන් එන්න ගන්න අපි ධාරි මහන්සිය මේක සූල ගෙනාවේ කරේ කියන්නේ වැද්දේ වාහන යන්නේ මේ පාරෙන් විතරයි පිරිමි නෑ මේකේ ගෑනු විතරයි අයියෝ ඔහොම කරන්නේ සාධාරණෙට මගේ වත් ඒක තන ඇදේ ඉන්න මට මේ දානේ 5000 දුන්නේ නැහැ මගේ නම කපලා දරුවා හවුදායේ කියලා දෙන්නේ නැහැ වාදේ මරන්න මේ වත් ගන්න ඕන නම් ඔක්කොම ටික මරන්න මුළු ගමම මරලි වරල මේ වත් අරගන්න ඒ සර් දුක් විඳලා හම්බ කරන් කනවා මෙච්චර මහින්ද මහත්තයා කාලේ තිබුණා ඒත් මේ වත් ගන්නාවේ නෑ මම නිකන් හිටියා අපි දුප්පත් අපි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ උදේ වන්දර 7ට ඇවිල්ලා රුපියල් 750 පඩියට මේ සැරේ තමයි 1000 කරේ 1000ට තාම හරියට නෑ සර් ආරංචි මේ වත් ගන්න එපා මෙන්න මේතල කියන්නම් ඕන කලක ඕන තරමට ප්‍රශ්න ඕන ගන්න තියෙනවා සර් රජේ ඉන්න ඕන තරම් ඇති අපි කැමති
කියනකන් ඉන්නකෝ මෙතන කර්මාන්තපුරයක් හදලා ඔයලා දරුවන්ට රස්සාවල් දෙනවා දරුවන්ට දුන්න අපි කන්නේ මත අපිට කෝ මට දැන් සෑල්ල මේක ගත්තා නෑ කච්චි ගොඩක් ඉන්නවා ඒක අපිට රස්සාවල් කරනවනේ වත්තේ වැඩ කරන සියලුම දෙනාට මේකේ වැඩ දුන්නොත් හොඳ නැද්ද ආණ්ඩුව අපිට කන්න නැත්තම් සර් අපි ඇවිල්ලා මහත්තයලට කියලා වැවර ගෙඩියක් කඩන් කාපු දවස් අනන්තවත් තියෙනවා කන්න නැතුව සර් අපිට පොල් ගෙඩියක් දෙන්නේ කියලා ඉල්ලපු දවස් තියෙනවා අපේ මහත්තයගෙන් ඒ මහත්තයගේ කරුණාවට අපිට වැටිච්ච පොල් ගෙඩියක් එහෙමගෙන කාපන් කියලා අවසර දීලා අපි පිටවත්තක ගිහිල්ලා කොහමද අපිට පොල් ගෙඩියක් නැතුනොත් අපි කන්නේ සර් පින්සිද මෙන්න වෙන්ද මේ වත්තට ආයෙ එන්න එපා එක්ක අපි මරලා යන්න මරලි වරලා මහත්තයලා කියලා මෙතන ඕන් දෙයක් කරගන්න මරන්න නෙවෙයි අද එන්න එපා සර් කිව්වා හරි වාත දෙන්නේ නැහැ මහත්තයා වාත දෙන්නේ ඔයලාගේ ඒක ගන්න නම් එන්න එපා සර් එච්චරයි කියන්නේ දරුවන්ගේ වත්තට යටත් දෙන්නේ නැහැ අපි වාත දෙන්නේ නැහැ මහත්තයා වාත දෙන්නේ මහත්තයා හර කතා අපි ගන්නෙත්
A number of politicians, including State Minister D.V. Chanaka and Parliamentarian Nipuna Ranawaka, were present at the inspection tour.
LRC
අපි වැවිලි සංස්ථාවට දීලා තියෙනවා. නමුත් වැවිලි සංස්ථාව අපිට එවපු ප්‍රකාශයක් තියෙනවා ඒකෙන්දි වැවිලි සංස්ථාව කියලා තියෙනවා ඒක හෑන්ඩ් ඕවර් කරලා නැහැ කියලා. නමුත් අකුරස්ත වත්ත ඒ කියන්නේ මේ නමුණුකුලලා අකුරස්ත වත්ත හරහා මේක ඇටච් කරගෙන ඉන්නවා ඒකට. එතන මේ වගේ හල්ලොලුවට නඩු තීන්දුවකුත් දීලා තියෙනවා ඒක එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ කියලා. අපි නඩු තීන්දුවට අරගෙන ඒකට කරගෙනනවා.
රාජ්‍ය ආයතන ගාන ෆේල් වුණාට පස්සේ ඒකට තීන්දුවක් ගත්තේ නැහැනේ. දැන් එතකොට නමුණුකුල පසු සමාගමට ඕන හැටියට තමයි සීරම LRC ඉඩම් හැන්ඩල් වෙන්නේ.
ඔය ඒක නෑ ප්‍රශ්නේ නේ නෝ.
ඔය ඉතින් එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ.
සම්පාදනයකට අක්කර 10ක් ගන්න අපි ඇතුල් වෙලා
ඇතුල් වෙලා අපි යන්තම් ඔව්
උසාවියේ ගිහිල්ලා උසාවියේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කොළඹින් ලෝස් වෙනවා ගැසට් එකකුත් නැතුව ගැසට් එකකුත් නැතුව ඒව සේරම ඒ විදිහට කරගන්න.
අයිත ගැසට් එකකින් අපි දීලා තියෙන ගැසට් එකක් දීලත් නැහැ ස්පීච් එකට. මේ ස්පීච් එකෙන් ගැසට් එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ සර් මේක දැන් අපි ගැසට් කරපු එක ස්පීච් එකට ස්පීච් එකෙන් ගැසට් එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම ගැසට් එකක් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ පැහැදිලිවම කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ ඇටච් කරගත්ත එක විතරයි.
මේ සීරු දේවල් අරගෙන ඉවරයි. නෑ නෑ මගේ මේ පහතම දාන තියෙනවා අතන මේ අර වතුර කෙරෙන තැනක් තියෙනවා එතන ඒ පහතම ඒ සීරු දේවල් හදලා
Leader of the UNP Ranil Wickremesinghe visited Samagi Jana Balawegaya parliamentarian Harin Fernando in hospital today to inquire into his well-being.
This is impeding on an MP's tasks. This and the April 21st attacks should not be combined. It is a form of harassment towards an MP. There is an issue with combining two contrasting matters.
සම්බන්ධ නොවන කාරණා එකක් හරියන්නේ නැතිකොට දැන් මේකෙන් උසාවියට ගියන් පස්සේ තව කාරණයක් ගේන එක ගැන විශාල ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා.
විචාරපතිතුමා අවතුමාත් අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්තා. පාස්කු පෙරහැර සම්බන්ධයෙන් සිදුවන විමර්ශනය ගැන ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස මොකක්ද?
A number of investigations were held even during our regime. If there are new developments, those should be revealed. New facts should be revealed to the entire country. It has not happened.
ඔබතුමාට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ හිටියන මේව සම්බන්ධයෙන් කතා කරන්න තියෙනවා කියලා හිතෙන්නේ
මම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නෑනේ. ඔබට කතා කරන්න වෙනුවට.
ඔබතුමාට දැන් ගියා නම් නැවතත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඔබතුමාව
දැන් මගේ නිස්පිරිතාලේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නෙවෙයි.
Opposition parliamentarian Harin Fernando filed a fundamental rights application with the Supreme Court today seeking an order to prevent his arrest with regard to the 2019 April 21st attacks. The application was filed by Attorney-at-Law Sanath Wijewardena and the Director of the Criminal Investigations Department, Inspector General of Police, Minister of Public Security and the Attorney General were named as respondents. Harin Fernando has pointed out to court that despite having made statements before the Presidential Commission and the CID on several occasions regarding the April 21st attacks, it appears that he is being summoned before the CID repeatedly with the intention of arresting him under the pretext of preventing terrorism while obstructing his political activities. The petition notes against a backdrop when no evidence has been presented to prove he has committed an offence under the Prevention of Terrorism Act or any other law, and when he has not aided any terrorist activity, reasonable suspicion has arisen as to whether this is being done due to him and the opposition highlighting the shortfalls of the government while carrying out people-friendly activities. Meanwhile, speaking at a press conference, former Minister Rajitha Senaratne expressed several views regarding arrests that have been made recently.
එක පැත්තකින් අසාක්ෂාලිවත් අරන්කොට ගන්නවා. අරගෙන සිංහල බෞද්ධ කට්ටියව චූන් කරන්න හදනවා.
On one side, Saleh is apprehended to please the Sinhala Buddhist crowd. It was Saleh who first publicly announced that Zaharan should be arrested. On the other hand, Minister Rishad is apprehended for questioning at 1 a.m. in the night 5 times. However, a statement has not been recorded until today. He is being held up even during emergencies. He is being arrested according to the whims of a certain person. If the top-class clergy wants it done, apprehensions will be done. The truth is that the President, Prime Minister and Basil Rajapaksa know that there is no charge against him. He has no charges regarding Zaharan on him, but he is being arrested to please some people. Now, attention has been drawn to the statements made by Harin Fernando. They are asking whether he had leaked information or whether he is right or wrong. He is being hunted at present.
කල්ලා ඉස්සෙල්ලාම කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒක හරිද වැරදිද කියලා බලන්න. එහෙම නැතුව යම් ප්‍රකාශයක් කරයි කියලා දැන් ඔහු පිටිපස්සේ දඩයන් කරනවා.
Agra Dinetri, the daughter of the convener of the Consumer Affairs Authority, Asela Sampath, expressed her displeasure about her father's imprisonment, convening another media briefing today.
My father was brutally attacked on the 20th by prison officials after he was granted bail on the 19th. He has been subjected to inhumane torture. They have tortured him, saying that he will undergo quarantine. I think this is retaliation. Currently, my father is receiving treatment at the Sri Jayavandanapura hospital. During the time my father was imprisoned, we were only given 2 chances to talk to him. That too was only for 4 minutes. Under which law does it say that I cannot talk to my father following his release? My father is a person who spoke for the food the general public consumes since 2012. I am sad to talk about the kind of food the Sri Lankan prisons provide.
මම කියන්න කනගාටුයි සිරකාරයෝද මනුෂ්‍යයෝයයි බිත්ති අතර ගහගෙන ඉන්න බන්ධනාගාරය ඇතුලේ මොන වගේ ආහාර රටාවක්ද තියෙන්නේ කියන එක. මේ තියෙන්නේ බන්ධනාගාරය ඇතුලේ උදෑසන ආහාරය දෙන පාන් කෑල්ල. මේ පාන් කෑල්ල කාලා හවස 2 වෙනකන් ඉන්න ඕනේ දවල් ආහාරය ගන්න.
They have to stay till 2 p.m. in the afternoon after eating this in the morning. Won't my father fall ill if he eats like this? When will justice be served for us? If you think these acts are wrong, come with us. Let us go inside the prisons and see what is happening there.
When News First inquired about this incident from prison spokesperson Chandana Nayaka, he said that no complaint has been made by Asela Sampath regarding this. Spokesperson of Sri Lanka prisons further said that an investigation can be launched into the incident if a written complaint is being made. Moving on to the next story. Did the cabinet take a decision to ban the burqa? Views regarding the matter were expressed during the cabinet media briefing today.
බුර්කාව තහනම් කරන්න කැබිනට් එක තීරණය කරලා තියෙනවද?
බුර්කාව කියන
This does not mention the burqa individually. This speaks about drafting laws pertaining to covering your face completely in public places and whether it is a threat to national security.
කිරීමට කැටුම්පතක් සකස් කිරීම.
When are you going to implement? Immediately implement or want to pass some?
No, it has to go through the normal procedure. Yeah, it's been approved by the cabinet. Now it will be sent to the. It is not before that. It will be sent to the draftment department, and from there the Aegis department, and then it will be brought to the parliament. That is in public areas, particularly in the public areas, as it could be a security hazard. If to the extent that it can be, if it can be a security hazard, then there will be some action taken on that.
Minister, does that include both burqa and niqab?
I said that I don't know they haven't given any diagrams of the what this face, but it's a face shield that they are talking about. As long as it it can cause a security hazard, that they will have the right to arrest them.
Founder of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, Basil Rajapaksa, celebrates his birthday today.
A special religious event was organised in line with his birthday by the youth wing of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna in Kaduwela today. Several blood donation programs were also held in several areas today in line with the birthday of Basil Rajapaksa. A blood donation campaign was held at the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna office in Batiklo. A sapling distribution campaign was also conducted for the participants of the blood donation campaign. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, we wish you a happy birthday.
Senior journalist Sudeva Hettiarachchi has been appointed as the Director General of the President's Media Division.
Sudeva Hettiarachchi, who received the letter of appointment from President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat, is due to assume duties next week. An alumnus of Ananda College, Colombo, Sudeva Hettiarachchi has over 25 years of experience in journalism and has held senior positions in several media channels.
A discussion regarding Tamil Buddhism was held in Jaffna yesterday. Professor P. Pushparatnam of the University of Jaffna expressed the following views about the event.
அபயகிரி விகாரையிலே கண்டுபிடிக்கப்பட்ட தமிழ் கல்வெட்டு
Stone tablets found from the Abhayagiriya temple reveals of citizens engaging in alms givings in the past. 16 Tamil stone tablets, which are 1000 years old, have been discovered from the Vilgam temple in Trincomalee. Those tablets include information regarding donations to construct the Vilgam temple. 30,000 Tamil Buddhists who resided in Kurunegala and Puttlam in the 1970s converted as Sinhala-speaking Buddhists. That is a fact known to all of us. When a law was brought forward that Sinhala Buddhists would be given priority when appointments are made, Tamil Buddhists in the areas converted. Therefore, Tamils are not opposed to Buddhism.
இருந்த தமிழர்களில் ஒரு பிரிவினர் தான் பின்னரும் பௌத்தர்களாக மாறியிருக்கிறார்கள்.
News First, the voice of the people.
with you, solving your problems. Always by your side, acknowledging issues forgotten, tears unseen. Working for you and our country. Gammadda, by the people, for the people.
With that, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Bernadine Joy Singha, and the interpreter for tonight is Brian. Good night. Take care.